My name's Steve, and thinking about calling this the Crude Carpenter because I like to fiddle around in the wood shop, but I'm not particularly talented, and things come out a little out of square, or I have to measure twice, cut 3 times, that sort of thing. But I enjoy the hobby. But this episode, I want to talk to you about my biggest mistake so far as a property owner, and that is this building right here. This is it. This is my error. And so I'll show you why here in just a second. So when I had this building put up, I had just moved here, and I grew up in flatland, and I didn't realize how much slope had to do with water management and things like that. And I hired a guy who claimed to know what he was doing, and he did the dirt work here. But what he did is, he, instead of bringing dirt in to raise up where the shed would be, he dug out part of this hill to make it level here, and now it's just a big flooded mess whenever it rains. You can see that here. And so I had this pole building put up, and since then I've had nothing but trouble. So water pools around it, water hangs out here because it doesn't have the slope to flow past my house anymore. And now, because of that, the concrete inside is cracking everywhere as water pushes up. I tried to seal some of it kind of crudely. Water's pushing up, putting cracks all over the place in the floors. You can see another one here. You can see this weird trail here where water has intruded and left deposits all over the place in here. And because everything tends to be wet, all the untreated lumber around the door frames has gotten full of termites. So just replaced this door. You can see where replaced some of this wood down here with treated lumber because it was all termited out. Every time I look, I find little termite tubes in here. And just to show you the current project I got going on, I just tore out part of this frame here, and you can see what the termites have done. Look at that. And this shed is 5 or 6 years old now. That's it. This whole thing was built in 2015, and now it's 2021. So that's how quickly these things act. And so I cut this off with a Harbor Freight oscillating saw here, and I'm going to replace some of this with treated lumber and try to stop some of the water intrusion. And then I'm going to do it again down here. The way I knew that the termites were getting in is occasionally I'd see mud tubes, but also down here where this wood's discolored, I would see on the other doors this area beginning to hollow out. And I could see mud coming up in the crevices between the boards, indicating that termites were climbing up there. Probably can't see it too well in the dark here. All right, so that's how I knew they were here. Now, what I've done is I trenched around the shed, which made more of a mess, and I poured some termite poison in a trench around the shed. And now I'm going to treat the wood with Boracare, and hopefully that'll help take care of part of the problem. If it doesn't, I think what I'm going to do is sell this shed for scrap and put up a small portable building and downsize, because as nice as it is to have a 30 by 30 building, it's just a headache to have to put up with this all the time. All right, so I just pulled off the metal on this side of the door, and you can see down here at the bottom where things get wet. We can see some damage down here. We see mud. Termites like to hide in that mud. And you can see how that wood just is gone down there. So we're going to replace all this. There's a dead brown recluse spider too, or its exoskeleton anyway. So we're going to work on this, and luckily, look at that spider running. Look at that guy. That might be a brown recluse right there. All right, so we're gonna fix this, and it looks like I got Super Chuck out here. Where'd Super Chuck go? There he is. Hey, Chuck. Da-da-da-da. All right. So we're gonna play around with this and put this all together into an awful video that you can dislike. We're working on something out here. We're trying to get rid of some termite damage from those bugs in the ground. All right, so now we're gonna mark this and cut it off. And here's a tip for you. If you have a board like this, like the one I just pried off, and you got nails sticking out, lay it nail side down so you don't step on it and impale yourself. Not that I know from experience or anything. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna mark this a few inches up and use that as a line to cut through this so we can see if I need to cut any higher. So I have this oscillating tool from Harbor Freight here. Killed about 3 or 4 brown recluse spiders since I started on this project. That's been fun. Let's pop this guy out. There you go. See that damage? See those termite galleries up in there? If I go back in time, we would have built this different. I'd have hired another guy, but when you don't know what you're doing, like me, you make silly mistakes in life, and then you pay for them later. Let me look underneath here. Okay, I don't see any galleries coming up into this piece of wood here, so I think we'll just splice in a new piece. We'll be all right. So what I ended up doing was I spliced in some treated lumber underneath my cuts and screwed them into place. So you can see that here. And then I buttoned everything back up, put the metal back in place. I also should say that I sprayed some Boracare on everything and put a little bit of caulk around some of those joints just to keep water off the wood as much as possible. Well, I appreciate you checking out Out a Square, my first ever YouTube video like this. I know it's a little bit rough, but thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you next time. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to be good enough.